Boom.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Never Over Live. This is the post show for the Elimination Chamber. Doing it on Twitch. Make sure if you followed us all evening, you hit that follow button. Also hit subscribe. That said, this will be our last stream, pay-per-view stream on Twitch. In 3 weeks for Fastlane, you'll find us streaming on YouTube. So make sure you go over to YouTube, search Never Over, find the logo, you'll see it. Hit that subscribe button. We're looking to push for 100 subs so we can change the URL to youtube.com/neveroverlive. So a sub there would help. Elimination Chamber, fellas, let's get into it. We can probably go really quick through a lot of this because it was very open and closed in some cases. So they started out the evening with Mickie James versus Becky Lynch.
Becky with the win.
Becky picked up the win, but I thought Mickie James wrestled the hell out of that.
Showing,
showing that, showing a lot of really good things, kind of putting that match with Asuka in the past, and really, really showing she still has a really strong veteran move set.
Yeah,
good didn't miss a beat. A lot of athletic ability. Some great little things. I noticed she popped her hips out for some leverage on a pin. Just things that threw some authenticity in the match. Yeah, in a loss, but she still looked really strong. I hope she sticks around for a while.
Yeah, I hope this doesn't derail her too much. So, I think it would have been better suited having her win, but at the same time,
she looked strong in her loss.
I thought she had a great match. So. Becky, don't think really needed a win, but she got the win, so, that's kind of open and close where we're at. Then we had Apollo Crews and Kalisto versus Dolph Ziggler. As Apollo Crews and Kalisto were coming out, Apollo Crews came out first, got to the ring, then Kalisto was coming out second. While he was doing his entrance, Dolph Ziggler comes from the back, tosses Kalisto in, kind of injures Kalisto. Apollo Crews gets a little bit of momentum to start, kind of looks frustrated. Back and forth battle, Kalisto shows up, and ultimately that swings things in favor of Apollo Crews and Kalisto. That's kind of expected with a handicap match. So after the fact, Dolph Ziggler then blew out the other two, attacking them both. So not really sure where they're going to go, how they're going to move forward with that group, but that's kind of the way they
Apollo will be out for a week or two with a injured ankle, and it'll be Kalisto and Dolph for a couple of weeks.
He may come back with Edge because early on in the match, he had some passion, some fire lit under him because Kalisto got ambushed during his entrance. It was really great to see him come out, look strong, have something to fight for. He was tenacious. He had that little bit of fire under him, and it was great to see because Apollo Crews, we all know, has the ability. He's great on paper, but he just hasn't done anything to prove it. It was kind of good to see that tonight, and hopefully he has it going forward after the injury.
Social emotion, and that was a welcome fresh
necessary,
change,
very necessary.
And that seems to be the thing with Apollo Crews. People seem to like him when he shows emotion. Other than just coming out and smiling and being happy to be there.
Gives people something to cheer for. That's what it is.
Well, it's relatable.
Yeah, exactly. So you're ticked off, a friend got injured and was attacked, and you want to right that wrong. So I thought overall that was a pretty decent match. It helped out both sides, keep pushing their envelope forward. After that, we then had Nikki Bella versus Natalya. That match was boring.
Yeah.
Wasn't we really zoned
we were
out.
Confused by the ending. It was just
all of a sudden there was double count out and that was it. Yeah. And then more shenanigans occurred, and then more shenanigans occurred backstage. So that doesn't seem to be done, but they don't seem to have plans for that for Mania. So I don't know. Maybe they close that feud out in the next week or two and then move on to better things. Overall, though, that Nikki Bella Natalya match was boring.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's over because Natalya attacked Nikki backstage.
Exactly. So
getting some.
There'll be a stipulation or something involved. No DQ, maybe.
In the way too.
Yeah. Up after that match then was the SmackDown Tag Team Turmoil match that saw the match start out with Fandango versus Rhino and Heath Slater and Rhino. Heath Slater and Rhino were able to pick up the win. After that, they had the Vaudevillains come out.
Or as Brad calls them, the
Time-Traveling Bandits.
The Time-Traveling Bandits came out. Heath Slater and Rhino also picked up the pin on those two guys. So the Vaudevillains were then eliminated. Then came out the Usos. The Usos successfully eliminated Heath Slater and Rhino. That followed up with American Alpha coming out. American Alpha and Usos went back and forth. American Alpha was able to eliminate the Usos, but the Usos took exception to that, and they hopped back in the ring, kind of did some destruction, beat down the champs. The champs then had to face the Ascension that came out. Ascension hit a lot of power moves to start. Looked like they were building steam towards capturing their first title win. That didn't end up being the case, as the American Alpha was able to bounce back, be resilient, and ended up picking up the pinfall, picking up the win to retain their titles.
I mean, like, I know we disagreed during this in the live stream. I'm not entirely in favor with the way the Ascension's loss was handled. It is good to see American Alpha keep the title, and hopefully they can keep it for another little while and kind of help continue to elevate the title a little bit more. It is good to see the Ascension, who were at the bottom of the division, come up a little bit and kind of narrow the spectrum that has been the SmackDown Live Tag Team division a bit.
Yeah.
So after that, I don't think there's too much really to say about that. So following the tag team turmoil match, we then went into the
Luke Harper,
Harper and
Randy Orton
match. Pretty decent match all around.
Yeah.
I thought it made Luke Harper look good. I thought the match looked very good for Luke Harper. Then Randy picked up some momentum at the end, hit an RKO, but I think they did a pretty decent job of making old Luke Harper look pretty legitimate. You know, part of me was hoping that Luke Harper would pick up a win, you know, make Mania a little more interesting with a triple threat angle, because I think the three guys could really work well. But you know, that's kind of the case. I don't know if there's any too much else to really say about Luke Harper.
I don't think you'll see Randy eat a clean loss between now and Mania.
No, I'll be interested to see where Luke goes. He has been an Intercontinental Champion before, so maybe that's where he will fall on the card, or be somebody who, like, maybe, like it's been said, Eric Rowan comes back, they take over the tag team division and kind of give a little bit more of a bump in there. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Championship Harper, tons of upside. Can't really do anything wrong with him. He'll work hard, despite being 37.
Yeah. So, clock's ticking.
Yeah. Women's championship match.
Yeah. Alexa Bliss versus
kind
Naomi.
It was a little bit
boring. It was the cool down match, but I cooled down really fast.
Yeah. Naomi's entrance was probably the hottest part of the match.
Yeah.
And she picked up despite the fact that I had her and all the reasons why I had her, it was a surprise win in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people were surprised by Naomi picking up the win there, so figured Alexa Bliss's reign would keep rolling on, but for one reason or another, they decided they'd switch it over and give Naomi a run. But you know, my concern starts to be with the women's division for SmackDown is, you know, you don't have a lot of women wrestlers, so you know, if you keep on a pace like this, you could quickly have everybody have a title reign.
Everybody in the division have
So you get a little bit worried about that, but you know, maybe at Mania they flip it back to Becky. So,
but would it be better or would it be worse to have all the women on SmackDown get the title as opposed to having two on Raw get the title?
And that's what I'm saying. It narrows out the division. The competition looks stronger on the SmackDown side, in my opinion, because they all have storylines that make that, like, they're all making the most of their storylines. Raw's is a mess.
Yeah. I don't know if it makes the division look stronger per se, but it makes the division feel close.
Yeah,
and tight.
I remember we talked about this I think we talked about this during after the Royal Rumble post show, where Raw's spectrum is wider.
Yeah, the talent's higher,
but also lower.
Yeah,
SmackDown is more narrow.
Yeah, and I
middle.
think having a couple month reigns, maybe that's what they're working, is how like close the group is.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they're setting up for something in the future to establish the fact that, hey, a lot of these women are champions, and maybe in a year's time they have a women's elimination chamber.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. Or like whether that's where they have the multi-woman match for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's hard to say who would win that match.
That's true.
Because all women on the SmackDown side of things have been strong. Mickie James being a very adequate replacement for Ava Marie being out. Of course, a broom would be an adequate replacement for Ava Marie.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, I have a lot more confidence, honestly, despite the fact that Raw has the GOAT, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
SmackDown's roster as a whole, I have much more confidence in to deliver.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. After that, then, we had the Elimination Chamber match, the big main event of the evening. It saw John Cena and AJ Styles start the Elimination Chamber match. That quickly followed by Dean Ambrose coming into the match. After Dean Ambrose appeared, we had Baron Corbin enter the match. It was Bray Wyatt. Yeah, Bray Wyatt entered in fourth. Then Baron Corbin entered in 5th, and then The Miz entered in last. The order of eliminations went Baron Corbin, then Dean Ambrose, then The Miz, then Cena, then AJ Styles, to have Bray Wyatt become a WWE champion. In case you didn't catch that, Bray Wyatt is a WWE champion.
They finally did it.
Yeah. He pinned John Cena and AJ Styles to claim the championship in what was probably the best way to handle him winning the belt, by pinning the 2 former champions.
You needed to legitimize him.
Yeah.
The time to legitimize Bray Wyatt, I felt like, was a couple years ago, and they missed it. And they're at the end of the window, so to have him beat both AJ and Cena en route to the title is a good way to get back to, okay, he's a big deal. How do you keep making him legitimate? Well, you haven't beat Orton at WrestleMania. That keeps pushing that towards big status. So, good for them for finally going in on Bray Wyatt. Couple notes. I didn't like the way Baron Corbin went out, especially against Dean. I didn't like that. It's setting up for the Intercontinental title, I guess, which is fine. Baron Corbin winning the IC title would be okay. I think Baron Corbin's destined for bigger things. Yeah. I don't think he needs that title. I think he could have skipped over to another title.
You know what? Maybe this is for the best. I think maybe, because then by the time he gets to the WWE Championship picture, it'll be like, finally he's there. Yeah. Everybody at this point will be behind it, because we see the future of Baron Corbin, and maybe everybody doesn't quite see it yet. Yeah. And maybe doing the Intercontinental Championship thing, because they might be using Baron Corbin as the better experiment, that the successful experiment that should have been Roman Reigns. Yeah. And they're going to do everything, trying to do everything right, maybe do the slow burn with Baron Corbin instead of forcing, despite the fact that he's on the heel side. Yeah. Just maybe that's ultimately, that'd be kind of cool. They are the 2 respective versions of each other on their brands, despite the fact that there's the heel and the face. Yeah. And this is cool. Exactly. So for them to have a cross promotional match 4 years, 5 years down the line. Ooh. Yeah. That's a hell of a match. And I don't know who wins that match right now.
I think they are doing the development, though, of Baron Corbin correctly. I think he's better. Yeah. I think he can soar to higher heights. But they're not rushing and handing him everything. It's kind of a lessons learned situation. So, Dean continued. Dean for that match, I guess. Dean was still trash largely. Yep. AJ, Cena, Bray.
What can you say about AJ and Cena that you haven't
Miz
said
kept pushing that envelope of Daniel Bryan. So, I think all the boxes were checked. I didn't like the way Baron Corbin went down against Dean. I think they could have done Dean taking the heel angle and still still got away okay. I think fans, it wouldn't have hurt his reputation, but that's kind of where we're at. So
two questions for you. Yeah. Before we jump into the never over stuff, did the Elimination Chamber match itself live up to your expectations?
I think the back half did. Yeah. The first half didn't. The first half was kind of boring, and then after the first couple eliminations got out of the way, I think it started to pick up pace.
Even the first half, I was, except for AJ and Cena starting, Dean went to the top of the pod right away. Dean started climbing the chains right away. There was a lot of for me, I figured that stuff would come
later on.
This second, the half, at the half and back, right? But there was stuff happening that suplex throw that Dean did to AJ on the outside. He was the third guy in. They had good stuff all the way through. So
I thought the match
for my first Elimination Chamber, it was really good.
Go back and watch the other ones. It may taint this one a little bit, because the other ones had a lot of emotion and some blood, which adds a lot. Which does add. While I don't give a shit about blood, it adds a little bit of emotion to fights. Second question, kind of in the same vein. Did the pay-per-view live up to your expectations?
I had low expectations for it, so I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I thought it was decent. I don't think it was great by any means. Yeah. I don't think it was better than the Rumble. The Rumble was pretty much flawless, as far as pay-per-views go. The Roman Reigns thing deflated, but when you look back, you're like, wow, start to finish, this was pretty entertaining stuff. So.
The Royal Rumble always a good pay-per-view, no matter what. Anyway.
I don't think...
I think I was just a little excited that Elimination Chamber ended the way that...
It should have?
It should have ended, as opposed to the Rumble. So maybe I jumped on the better than the Rumble thing a little too quick.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, there was less disappointment in the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view than there was in the Royal Rumble.
Maybe it's because it was more predictable.
Well, maybe. So, a couple of things, but never over. 3 things mostly. 1, Kev Bone
retains third pay-per-view in a row.
If you don't count the fact that Nikki Bella and Natalya ended in a no contest, he's still flawless.
Yeah.
Still flawless, and he's the lone champ.
Yep.
Kev Bone, I want you to pick 6 numbers.
Yeah,
for us.
you gotta do the lottery, man. So at Kev Bone is the People's Champion for Elimination Chamber 3rd straight pay-per-view. If you think you can take that championship away from Kev Bone, make sure you keep it locked right here on YouTube for at Never Over Live, because every WWE pay-per-view we put up a People's Championship poll where you can book the pay-per-view and have your chance to be our People's Champion. Just like you see Kev Bone and Pinch's name over there, it'll be just Kev Bone because he's earned the right. 3 straight pay-per-views. Yep. He's about to eclipse Brad's reign as longest reigning Never Over champion, which is very cool. We'll have to go back and look at the numbers on that one. Second administrative note, I retained. We don't have to spend too much time on that, but I retained despite some pessimism from my 2 respectable comrades at arms here. You two doubted my abilities to retain my championship.
Well, you tied with me, so you sneak out of this one by the skin of your teeth.
And so I mean, I retain my Never Over World Championship.
It's a free 3-week walk with.
And so we'll go to Fastlane where I will retain it again.
I never got an easy walk. It was a pay-per-view every 2 weeks.
Yeah, and let me remind you that I tied with you consistently. So you guys shit on my record consistently, but I was right up there with Brad, right at the top every time Brad retained.
Took a while to get there. Took 2 or 3 pay-per-views before you started a tie streak.
If we're looking at points,
and then I beat Brad.
If we're looking at points, then I think I got the most points out of the 3 of us if we were to go back and look at like successful matches picked. So
Brad won I don't know how
I tied Brad
once
3
or
pay-per-views.
Twice. No,
it took you 2
times. It took you 2 or 3 times to get to the ties, and you did it once or twice.
Third thing, I want to thank you all so much for joining us here on twitch.tv/NeverOverLive. This is our final twitch.tv/NeverOverLive live stream until we get banned again
from YouTube. I'm looking for 3 strikes.
We may be back. We could be back. You may see some stuff happen with this channel anyway. Maybe some WWE 2K gameplay happening. So make sure you keep it locked here. Make sure that if you want to join us for future WWE live stream viewing parties, just like Fastlane, which is happening in 3 weeks on March 5th, that you go over to youtube.com, search up Never Over Live, and find us. We're pretty easy to find. We're the 3 very good-looking dudes with the fancy art. And make sure you're also following us over on Twitter at NeverOverLive. But until then, guys, this was WWE Elimination Chamber saying good night and good luck to Twitch.tv as we thank you for the temporary residence, I suppose you could say. It was cozy. We want to thank you for joining us for the last 3 months, and we'll see you over on youtube.com/
numbers and letters.
I'm the Never Over World Champion, Ben Dawson. That's Brad over there. And we'll see you soon.